Hi, Jay.
I read.
I just spoke to Dylan Holloway, positive night for him last night, and he said the NHL, it's such a fast league and things happen so fast, but he's also had to learn to be patient and maybe let things slow down. What have you seen from him, learning about that NHL pace and learning the speed and the patience?
Yeah, I think he's a young player in the best league in the world, and he's navigating his way through his first season, and I see someone taking steps. I see someone who is taking care of the defensive side of things, and we're starting to see a little bit more offense come out of him. I think no two NHL players' development is the exact same. And for him, I'm quite pleased with where he's at. I see somebody that is improving. I see somebody who's earning his teammates' trust, earning his coaching staff's trust. He had a big night last night. You will point out the offensive side of things, but I think he made a bunch of really good subtle plays that his coaching staff and his teammates really appreciate too.
I mean, whatever you want to call it, the slot, the home plate area, that's important at both ends of the ice. It seems to me sometimes when players move up a level or two in hockey, they almost have to relearn how to thrive in that area. Like it seems to me he's recognized pretty quick, I still got to get there. I still got to figure out how to be important in those areas.
Yeah, and I would say it doesn't always have to be a perfect play. I mean, you look at Ryan McLeod's goal last night. Hyman does some great work to get the puck deep. He puts it in front of the net, and Dylan didn't make the perfect shot. He got it there dirty, and someone found the rebound. And for him, that's also part of it too, is learning how good the defenders are in this league, how sometimes things have to happen a half second quicker in order for you to find some success in different areas. I think he's a really good young player that everybody is excited about, and he's a good prospect and player for our organization. And he's learning what it takes to day in, day out compete in the National Hockey League on a team that's, fighting to make the playoffs.
Jay, in the same vein, I know you have to have patience with young players like that. How does a coaching staff, how do you develop that patience as a coaching staff saying, well, he's made a mistake here, but we're going to stick with him. He's made a mistake here, we're going to stick with him. I guess, how does that come about, and how important is it for the coaching staff to have patience with a young player and let him go through that learning process, I guess?
Really important. In the end, it's our job to try and put our players in positions to succeed. So if, certain situations prove a little much, then we might dial it back a little bit until certain benchmarks get kind of checked. But, it's not an easy league. It's the best league in the world. But I think for Dylan specifically, I see I see great improvement, and he's trying to find a way to have an impact on every game that he plays. Sometimes it's with a hit, sometimes it's with a good defensive play, it's a play on the wall. Last night he found a little bit of offensive success, but I've been quite pleased with him for a long time.
You were very complimentary of Broberg last night, and I was talking to him this morning. He says processing the game is really tough for the defenseman. You're going back to get the puck, and you're trying to think, okay, where's the play going here? Is that, as a coach, is that what you see with a young defenseman too? For sure, and that kind of goes to Derek's question too about putting people in positions to succeed. And then when they prove that they can handle those situations, you give them a little bit more. One of the things that we try and do with young defensemen, and all of our defensemen, but specifically young defensemen, is we want to arm them with the tools that they can be successful with. So not only do we want to put them in positions to succeed, we want to arm them with what they're going to need. So we spend a lot of time talking about the situations that they find themselves in. You're talking about processing versus another team's forecheck. We talk a lot about how other teams forecheck. We talk a lot about things we're trying to do versus those types of forechecks. And in the end, though, Hockey's a fairly simple game. I think if our D-men can get back to pucks quickly, if they can touch the puck first, then things open up. And Philip's done a good job with that.
He also said that he rushed the puck a lot more when he was in junior, and he realized you can't do that quite so easily as a defenseman in the National Hockey League unless you're, Makar or Erik Karlsson or somebody like that. Is that something that you have to take out of a young defenseman who used to rushing the puck?
Well, I don't think we ever want to coach something out of someone if it's their natural instinct. In the American League, I saw Philip in numerous offensive situations. I saw him, be a big factor in overtimes when ice was opened up. I saw him, have some success leading rushes at that level. I think what's unique about Philip is that he realizes in this opportunity in the NHL for him right now, probably simple's better. Subtle's better. He doesn't need to break the game open every shift. He's just doing his thing. And as a result, he's finding success. And I don't think that's complicated. I think it's very simple. He's playing to that script, and that's why he's continuing to improve on a daily basis. That's why I said last night, I think he's growing before our eyes.
Matthias Janmark is probably going to get you, 10 or 12 goals. Not going to sell a lot of jerseys out there. Can you?
That's a good way of putting it.
Can you win without guys like him?
Can you say that again?
Can you win without players like him?
No, I think those are the types of players you do win with. Derek Ryan would fit into that mold as well as maybe not the guys who stand out in all the highlight reels, but they do small things that help teams win. And for Matthias, I keep going back to his story on the year. Didn't start how he wanted to. He got waived. 31 teams didn't pick him up. He went down. He didn't hold his head down. He went and was a productive person at Bakersfield. He came back up and he wanted to make good on an opportunity, and progressively he's gotten more. I also think it's important to note that that is the type of team we want to have. We want to use our eyes and make good decisions based on the real-time information that players are giving us. I see Matthias Janmark playing on a line with Nugent Hopkins and Costin that has been integral to our recent success. I see a level of consistency about him. I see somebody who makes an impact in games that doesn't always show up in the stat column. I think you win with guys like Matthias Janmark.
And do you have to judge him? Is it hard to judge him in preseason, in early season games? That player, from where we sit, the time you really value him is, starting probably right about now. Is that fair?
Yeah, maybe. But if you dial it back a few months, there was some cap issues with our team, and there was a competitive environment in training camp where we could not maybe keep everybody just based on their level of play. There's also the business side of the business as well. But I love the fact that he has gone through the year that he's gone, and he just keeps getting better, and he is a valued member of our team.
You made a point a little while ago about Dylan Holloway, and correct me if I don't frame this properly. You had said that if you look at his past, when he gets somewhere, it can take a little bit of time for him to find his footing.
Yep.
So I wonder, there were times this year where it might have been justifiable to have him in the American Hockey League. You stuck with him the whole way through. Was it with the idea that he's going to have to go through a certain amount when he gets to the NHL at some point, and might as well just make it this year rather than sending him down and having him come up and have to do that later?
Yeah, exactly. I think most players, when they first get to the National Hockey League, they're excited about making the league. As we know, the hardest thing to do is stay stay in the league. And an even harder thing to do is find a way to excel in a role where you can have success in the league. Early in his year, he was figuring some things out. He was learning the language of the coaching staff. He was finding a way to night in, night out have some sort of impact. Probably didn't go we're talking about Janmark, but for Dylan, probably didn't go according to the script that he had in his mind. But I think I see someone who's progressively getting better. He's learned some lessons along the way. We see improvement. And you know, you do that with the big picture of understanding this guy has the raw materials to not just take a shift in the league, but to be a very good forward in the league for a long time. I think as a coaching staff, you want to instill confidence in that player. And part of instilling confidence is giving people enough room to make some mistakes. It's about how you respond to those mistakes, and we want to see continued improvement in certain areas, and he's shown us that. I've been quite comfortable with him, and in terms of his first year in the NHL, you know, I see someone getting better.
AJ, so I guess thinking on the theme of some of the players you mentioned, you've received a lot of secondary scoring, if you will, streak from your third and fourth line.
Yeah.
Can you point your finger to anything that, you know, these players are doing that's allowing them to contribute offensively consistently?
Who's our third and fourth line?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
No, I'm just teasing. Yeah, I'm just teasing. Yeah, you know, sometimes when we go 11-7, we move people around. And in the end, what we're trying to do is get people involved. You know, I think finding offensive success is the byproduct of playing the game the right way. I look at that, you know, the types of goals we scored yesterday, that's a good sign, because I think those are the types of goals that happen from now until June. I think it's positive when unusual suspects, so to speak, touch the score sheet. I think that's good. That's the markings of a team that can hurt you in different ways. In the end, I think we have a lot of really good players. I think we, as much as I like the offensive success, we talked about scoring 5 goals yesterday and the team's record after it scores 5 goals. That's nice, but in the end, we put a real important emphasis on how we're defending. I think we're seeing some results here post-Christmas, and it's a credit to our players and their work ethic and execution.
Switching gears real quickly,
Yep.
The city of Edmonton just released a list of names for snowplows, and one of them is named Connor McBladed. First, your thoughts on the name, and then 2, which player do you think plays the most like a snowplow?
Wow. What do I think of the name? I think that's pretty creative, way beyond my level of creativity. And who plays like a snowplow? I don't think it's fair for me to say what player, but I have a few ideas on a coach or two that might have played like a snowplow back in their time. How's that? Yeah.
A little bit more serious note here, Jay. There's lots of discussion around the hockey world today about, you know, Ivan Provorov's decision last night not to take part in warm-up in the Pride night that they were having. I wonder what your experience has been with the Pride nights that you've had, and what you think about a decision like that, you know, being taken, and, you know, any messaging that it might send.
Well, I know here in Edmonton, we're very proud of the initiatives that our organization is involved in. You mentioned one of them, but it's not just that one. It's Military Appreciation Night, it's Indigenous Night. Our community foundation, I think, is the best in the National Hockey League, does an unbelievable job of distributing funds raised throughout our community. You know, in fairness, I don't think it's my place to comment on another team's player, another team's player's decision, or another team's initiatives. I can just speak to our team and our players, and we're certainly proud of the initiatives here that the Edmonton Oilers and our community foundation are involved in. Good, thanks, guys.